What's good, y'all? It's finally time to talk about single target arena, and yeah, I probably bought around now 15 fights trying to figure out the best ways again for all of y'all. Take a look at the teams and let me show you what I've noticed. It's going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, there's obviously me coming in freshly into single target arena, and here we go. Yeah, and enjoy.
Valeriya, Val, 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 Valeriya, Val, 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 Valeriya, 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 Valeriya.
So yeah, that is basically single target arena in a single word. It isn't single target arena, it is Valeriya arena. So please, pretty please, if you have Valeriya, use her for this arena. You're just going to make your life a gazillion times harder if you don't. And what this video is probably mostly going to be focused around is for people that don't actually have her, because or even those that ever, you can watch me struggle against Valeriya teams, I guess. But yeah, so there's two different approaches I found to deal with the Valeriya that are rather accessible, I guess. And I would say we should get straight into them and then let me talk a bit about them. So my first approach I took for like the first 6 or 7 fights trying to throw together something, and was using Cyrene. So Cyrene pretty much popped up out of nowhere for the last arena and became one of the most useful champions for everyone that, for example, didn't have a Boreas or just wanted to get their cost fast. And pretty much a very, very good opener that allowed a lot of people to compete in arena. And this is the approach I've taken for her. So pretty simple, stacking on a lot of HP. And then for a time I also had, where do we have it, had this rage regen ring on her. So she was running around with 98% rage regen, 250 attack speed, and then some HP. And the basic gist of her is you place her down, she restores cost. You either then take her off the field to get some more cost back based on her deployment cost, or you continue to keep her on the field and then you try to build your formation and then obviously try to compete with the Valeriya and use the cost to then out damage the enemy. The biggest problem I found with that one is it can only take you so far, because the biggest problem is if you put in a Cyrene, you're going to lose one DPS slot, because at the end of the day Cyrene ain't a damage dealer. Even if you do all that, you're going to lose a DPS slot, and then your team is going to somehow come out looking like, for example, this with the Hatset, even though Hatset really isn't that good in this arena, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, Hatset and Boreas both aren't recommended for this arena, because not only is it only single targets, even if there are multiple, they have a really long time in between them, so it takes a really long while for everyone to appear. So Hatset's bolts can't jump between targets, and if they can't jump between targets, she's also not going to reduce the enemy defense by 30%. So for example, one of the teams I've been trying to play around with and found some success, before I then tried the other way, was either full Inferno team like this, or replacing whoever you can replace and then throwing in a Silas. Basically, it's the interesting part about this arena is the first waves don't really hurt. Even a Cyrene without healer, without anything, can actually survive the waves. But I mean, all those strategies probably work, and I feel like there is something to be figured out with Cyrene over here, be it a Chaos Dominion team with a Valeriya where you don't really need her, or then more specifically I've seen a couple of Praetors, so Arbiter teams running her, or what is also possible, or what I feel like is possible, is Nightmare, though at least that's also kind of the approach I tried. And then let me actually show you the team I've been using for the last bit. So for like the last 3 to 4 fights trying to perfect it. So the goal of this team is, because obviously, interesting enough, maybe someone doesn't believe me, but we don't actually have a Valeriya. So there's a very real use to me trying to figure out a way to do it without her. And yeah, that main use ended up being Vladov, trying to use Vladov. But now that I think about it, we don't even keep him on the field, so honestly I might as well change it up. Let's bring in this dude. So basically I was using Vladov before because he has the arena cost reduction, you all know, so he goes down from 18 down to 13 cost and then actually becomes someone really useful. But now that I think about it, I might as well use my boy Damon over here, and let's just give him something appropriate, some attack speed, and then probably a attack percent piece, and then set wise all those don't really apply, which is rather sad. Because he is going to take damage. The targets aren't going to be away more than one tile. And I kind of want to keep this one for someone else, because Wailing Skull is really useful when it comes to dealing damage to the fighters. Let's just go with Scarlet Hunt on him. So yeah, what I was using before was a simple fight. I just showed it to you real quick. That was the Vladov I was using before. Decent HP, so like double HP percent subset, and then attack percent crit rate, crit damage, attack percent crit rate, attack speed, and some more attack, and then generate double attack, 1 crit damage, and slap on a bleed artifact. And you might as well get yourself someone that can do fairly good enough damage, I guess. But yeah, so the main goal for someone that probably most people haven't ever actually used before. Let me actually find something that has crit damage, crit rate, crit damage, attack speed. There we go. Yeah, so what happens is you place him down and he gets an attack increase of 60% for 15 seconds, and our plan is just to basically try to burst down the enemy if we can somehow manage that. Do we have a sufficient target? Might as well. So let's take it this generic Valeriya team, and yeah, you're going to see me struggle a lot here, but I just show you what I found out. So the main goal of this team is to try to survive as long as possible to wave 7 or wave 8, and then have wave 7 kill the enemy defense, and then wave 8 rush through. So it's not about us taking the speed, because we won't win a speed approach against the Valeriya, so there's no chance or no shot we're actually getting the HP of the enemy from 100 all the way down to 0 through using damage, because we're just going to be always behind, because the value of Valeriya is just too strong. And then position wise, so I've played around with defending down here, defending over here, and all that, and here's just too slow. If the enemies defeat them there, they're just going to kill your core. And if you want to somehow make it to wave 7, you also need to try to defeat enemies as fast as possible. And the position here might allow you to heal everyone, because that's one of the most crucial parts when it comes to surviving wave 7, is actually having healing on the field and relying on the enemy only using, for example, like a Dolores. But this position here doesn't actually work, because the pathing of the enemy is quite interesting. So they pretty much walk somewhat like this. So they come down here, turn around, then go down and all the way down here. So if you really want to use 3 fighters, so here's one fighter, no, with this end, here's one fighter one fighter on top and one fighter below, all hitting this spot right here, then you really need to defend all the way over here, and that's also exactly what we're going to do. Then let's see if Daemon can actually deliver. So as you can see, he's doing rather respectable damage. We are, at least for the first part, out damaging a Valeriya, which is quite nice. So we can then take him out, because interestingly enough, once you place a unit down here, they'll also actually get targeted. So the best placement is then going to be using your Salazar, if you have one, or be it your strongest Nightmare Fighter down there, which is what allows you to then take care of the next enemy. And yeah, the most important thing we need to try is just to not fall behind against the enemy Valeriya. And here we go, there we have like the two-pronged approach, so we have two fighters simultaneously hitting. And then we're going to, whenever we have the cost of 25, bring in Torador and then have 3 people hitting simultaneously. Yeah, so here you can already see it. We are going to probably go further and further behind when it comes to kill times, but that's just the way it goes. Nothing I can really do about it, and we just need to try to not be as fast as the enemy, but not too slow that we actually lose. So yeah, here we go. Obviously I showed you the builds of my characters after I can actually prove that it at least somewhat works. And yeah, so we've successfully managed to beat this wave. We're going to bring in our healer. So healer choice, obviously there's a lot of choices, but what I found most useful is just an Eloin to regenerate rage for all of them, and then a wood elf to save a Deimos against the enemy aura, so he doesn't die there. So he should survive the first couple because you obviously have his ultimate, but when he doesn't have his ultimate, he really is at a high risk of dying, and that's exactly not something we want. So as you can see, we were able, oh, it's even wave 6. We were able to deal with wave 6 and the enemy formation is crumbling. There's honestly no real chance that they survive the next wave of this one. And then yeah, here's the point where we then just try to heal up Deimos, just so we can keep everyone alive, keep up the pressure. And then we can also wait for this last guy to come in and then bring in Daemon again. Just so we have, as you can see, 4 fighters attacking the same target, which I just find quite hilarious and looks rather satisfying. And also his cooldown time, as you can see, is around 15 seconds. So you can technically bring him in, have him help out, take him out again, bring him in again. So yeah, that is pretty much the approach. I've spent like 450 gems and like my quest attacks on, but it might honestly not even work against every team. But yeah, let's just get some experience in, and yeah, honestly, you're kind of fucked. As long as you don't have a Chaos Dominion fighter that cuts their cost down to like 12, 13, you're kind of fucked. But there's also someone that might become fairly worth it, and it's Kineza. As y'all might know, Kineza actually has a cost of only 14, so that is really rather impressive. But her damage is really bad, so I don't know about using Kineza, but some of you might want to experiment with using Kineza. Yeah, I mean, I think I can see how crucial Wailing Skull is in actually keeping us in the fight. So if anyone has a Wailing Skull, feel free to use it, or just pray that Scarlet Hunt makes up the difference. What I'm a bit curious about is I might have not given my Deimos enough attack, but I'm not quite certain about that one yet. So there might still be something we can do to refine the stats a bit, but for the moment it's just it works. it works. So yeah, as you can see, we are again most likely going to lose this round over here, but we're going to be close enough to the enemy. And then again, all our hopes lay in wave 6, because at least for the moment, that's what I feel like the only way to truly compete against the Valeriya. Oh yeah, and as you might have seen, we're actually using a damage artifact on Torador, because it might just make that little bit of a difference in allowing us to stay alive. $16, here we go. Yeah, so I just used Salazar to take care of the enemy early to buy some more time for Deimos to get his ultimate ready. Because if Deimos dies, it's pretty much GG. We can't really have that. And here should be the point where we can again bring in Daemon. I really like the character just because, like, honestly, be real, Daemon looks cool. Daemon really looks cool. And yeah, I don't know. The first time I ever really thought about investing into him was Void Rift. When it came to Tentacles, it kind of feels like Daemon, or specifically the stage, has been made for Daemon to shine in. And yeah, at least I think you kind of get the gist of the strategy I'm using to beat this arena. And I know it kind of heavily relies on Torador, but I'm fairly certain that Rev should be able to do the same. Might even do better because he has self-healing, he has that extra damage. And then if you're using a Wrath, depending on how high your damage is, you might want to use a Lunacy Visor on Wrath, so Wrath can actually tank all 3 of the damage aura enemies if it ever actually happens to come to that one. But yeah, let's go over the builds, and then we'll do 2 more fights, and then I think that's it for today. And I obviously keep my eyes open, trying to see if there's anything more you can do. But yeah, so my 2 approaches are either use a Nightmare team through Daemon, or try to find a team that works with Cyrene, or even combine the 2 and use a Nightmare Cyrene team. Though keep in mind there, if your Nightmare units aren't strong enough to win against the enemy, it's unlikely for their HP to go to 0, as well as you kind of want to implement a healer if you're you really need a healer if you want to survive the 6th wave. But honestly, that's all there is to say about it. Let's get into the builds. So yeah, Salazar pretty much has my strongest gear. Split wise, it's double attack percent and 1 crit damage. Main reason being that we don't have a Dolores. So because we don't have a Dolores, we also can't boost our attack ridiculously high. And if you want to overcome the enemy defense, that gets really higher and higher and higher. That's what we need that attack for, which is why we're running double attack as well as an attack set. And then obviously with attack percent crit rate, crit damage, which puts us at around, let's have a look at the total stats, around 24,000 attack, as well as 342% crit damage. And then artifact wise, you've seen it, a Wailing Skull, just to make use of the extra stats. And if your Wailing Skull isn't 16, don't use it. Alright, now on to Torador. So for Torador, I've mainly went like a Bruiser-esque approach. So as you can see, we are running a Glacier set with crit damage and then double HP percent, as well as HP percent on weapon and armor. I know it ain't perfect, but we have around the 85% crit rate, 150% crit damage, and then as well as a massive 87,000 HP. I just found it to be useful in surviving the 6th wave, because they do tend to hit rather hard, and that's the only thing that sets you apart from the enemies, you having a healer and then a more tanky person. But I still feel like Rev is going to do just fine. And then Bloodlust Phylactery is just because we don't need any more tankiness. He can survive, so we just gave him some damage. And it's my Torador for you, and then we have Deimos over here. And yep, yeah, we definitely need a bit more. We definitely need a bit more attack percent. So attack percent wise, what do we take? Let's just take this piece. So yeah, I would probably honestly maybe even recommend something close to 8k attack. So like plus 8k attack, bring him to like 12,000, 13,000 total. We have 190% crit damage. could technically cut down on that. So yeah, the choice is also to put some more attack here. Here we would lose 40%, and here we would only lose. Let's see if we have a fitting one. So it would be attack percent, crit rate, attack speed. There we go. Let's just keep it like this, around 8,300, so 13,200 total, and then running a Scarlet Hunt, obviously because of Salazar. Oh yeah, and then Elwyn. So Elwyn is a rather interesting one. Elwyn runs this pretty standard high attack, rather high attack speed, high healing effect, healing build, and as you can see, an invigoration set. But for the invigoration set, it's actually 50-50 if it lands on Torador or Salazar. And I think y'all can imagine that there's a huge difference between it landing on Torador or it landing on Salazar. But yeah, now that we've checked over the builds, let's just run the last two fights and hopefully we can win those. And yeah, after this fight I'll refresh and then we'll fight the strongest person on the enemy page, and then that should give us a rather nice clue. Oh yeah, one more thing. I think you can wait a bit with placing down your Daemon, that they're at least around in the 1 tile range. So his 360% damage on placement, I believe, actually hits the enemy. It's not going to be massive, but it is going to have the enemy take a bit more damage. Yeah, and then we just need to use Salazar so we don't actually fall that behind. Though probably you should use Salazar on the second minion, even though it might not make as much of a difference. But yeah, keep in mind you are always going to be getting close to dying, and it's just wave 6 where you're going to be able to turn shit around. Ooh, this guy is using a healer, so proper healer in Hollow. So we gotta see if he can actually manage to survive wave 6. Yeah, Deimos is performing way better than before. Probably doing around triple damage compared to... yeah, probably compared to him actually having the defense stacks. So before he has full stacks, he's now doing around triple damage, which is a major increase. And really gets reflected right here. You can really see it. And also, you know, the most interesting part about those enemies. Oh, I show you it I show it to you in the next fight, I guess. It's going to be, you can check out the monster manual, and that really gives you quite an idea on how you want to gear your heroes, depending on if you want to finish the fight fast or if you're going to take a bit longer to finish the fight. Let's take someone with the highest BP possible, with a really disgusting team. Probably this team right here. 422k. Alright, so we're going to wait for him to get into the one time. Oh, shit. Oh, why did that have to happen? That is annoying as hell. Oh, but honestly, it doesn't really make a difference. At least not too much. So we could have placed him down earlier. We would have been able to defeat this guy earlier. And you might have seen it. There was a 100k hit. And luckily, we are able to recover from this grave mistake normally. But before I forget it, let's have a look at the monster menu. So it starts out with those guys over here. As you can see, reasonable attack, no defense, no magic resistance at all. This should be the first 2 waves. Then wave 3 and 4 is going to be those dudes over here, so Stitcher Carrions instead of Baron Salems. And as you can see, they already have technically 50% more defense and magic resistance, so the bar goes from 0 all the way to 50%. And now these dudes over here, I honestly don't really know the wave split, but you can see it, right? You can see it yourself. We have them over here. Honestly, them being labeled as elite, starting from the Knight of Destructions, it makes, what's his name? Gluttony. It makes Gluttony not as useful because Gluttony can one-shot those dudes with his ultimate, not that it really matters. As you can see, those have around 75% defense and magic res. Obviously, it's not really any values to go by. And then we have the wave 6 enemies. Maxed out defense and maxed out magic resistance. So if you're running anything that is supposed to deal damage to those dudes, unless it's a Silas, because the Silas obviously ignores defense and then just completely shreds them, you might want to go away from using, like, probably using 2 times crit damage is already deadly, but maybe you even want to go away from using even 1 times crit damage and might be considering running 3 times attack percent. But yeah, that's just the enemy defense being enemy defense. Yeah, and for this one, we're just going to wait, I guess. Bring in Deimos. Yeah, as you can see, there's way too much freedom for people actually using a Valeriya. And yeah, the challenge to survive to round 6 is not an easy one by no means. Yep, this is probably GG. As you can see, even this strategy can't really compare. It is unfair. The value gained through a Valeriya is truly unbelievably unfair. And there you go. Game over. So yeah, that is Arena for you. And then just once more, because you've already forgotten it. It isn't single target Arena, it is
Valeriya, 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 Valeriya.
See ya.